Africa is a continent known for its unique nature, iconic wildlife, and diverse geography. It is the second largest continent and covers more than 30 million square kilometers. The geography of Africa is striking in its diversity. Here you can find high mountain peaks, dense tropical forests, large savannas, deserts, river valleys, and lakes. In addition, Africa is famous for its well-known natural attractions such as Victoria Falls, Serengeti, the Sahara Desert, and Kilimanjaro. The inhabitants of the continent are of great interest to both researchers and tourists. Many animal species such as elephants, giraffes, lions, leopards, zebras, cheetahs, antelopes, and others consider this land their home. In some regions of Africa, you can observe large migrations of animals, one of the most impressive natural phenomena on the planet. Particular attention should be paid to one special animal, the appearance of which is recognizable even from far away. This is Giraffa camelopardalis. The giraffe belongs to the family of ruminants and is the only modern representative of this family. Okapi are close species to giraffes. They also belong to the family of ruminants and live in the tropical forests of Central Asia. Current classification recognizes one living species of giraffe with 9 subspecies, but recent DNA analysis suggests there may be as many as 6 giraffe species in the genus Giraffa. African giraffes live in various ecosystems of the continent, including savannas, forested, and open regions, crossing zones, as well as the southern Sahara. They also inhabit many countries in Africa, including Botswana, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and others. Giraffes prefer to live in open spaces with lots of vegetation, such as savannas and steppes, where they can feast on the leaves of trees and bushes. They can also live in thicker areas with dense vegetation, such as forested areas. In general, giraffes are terrain-adaptive animals, their dietary preferences depending on where they live. For example, in some parts of Africa, giraffes can eat wattle, and in other places, they'll choose shrubs and other types of plants. The habitat of giraffes can be diverse, and they can adapt to a wide range of conditions, making them one of the most widespread large mammals in Africa. Giraffes are large animals that are born after a pregnancy lasting about 15 months. Usually, giraffes are born one at a time, and this procedure can take up to several hours. Before giving birth, the female giraffe separates from the herd and is alone for several hours. When birth begins, the female giraffe remains standing and begins to squeeze out the calf. This process can take from several minutes to several hours. Thus, giraffes are born after a long pregnancy, and the birth occurs independently without the help of other animals. The newborn giraffe has a height of about 1.8 meters and weighs about 50 to 60 kilograms. It's able to stand and run several hours after birth. In the first days of life, it receives food from its mother, who secretes special milk rich in nutrients and antibodies. In the first months of life, the young giraffe remains under the supervision of the mother and receives all the necessary training and protection from predators. When the giraffe reaches sexual maturity at the age of about 4 or 5 years, it's ready to reproduce and continue its species. Thus, giraffes are born after a long pregnancy, and the birth occurs without the help of other animals. The newborn giraffe can move independently, but it is dependent on the mother, needing nutrition and protection during those first months of its life. Giraffes do not form permanent couples, and their courtship usually lasts no more than a few days. During the mating season, male giraffes demonstrate their strength and fight with each other for the right to mate. Once a female chooses a partner, they spend some time together, but that doesn't mean they'll live together for the rest of their lives. As soon as the mating is over, the giraffes disperse to their own affairs, and the male begins to look for another female. Therefore, we can say that giraffes are polyamorous. That is, they have several partners at different times. Giraffes have a very developed instinct for reproduction, and they spend a lot of time looking for a partner. In order to attract the attention of other giraffes, males show their strength and power in a behavior called necking. This is kind of a mating game that can last a few minutes or a few hours. It is especially interesting that giraffes can use their long necks in mating games. They use their necks to fight for the partner. The male can strike at other males and thereby demonstrate his strength. Sometimes they even hug each other by crossing their necks and fighting in this position. A blow of a giraffe can be very strong. Some estimates say the giraffe can strike with a force of up to 2,000 pounds per square inch, which is comparable to the blow that a boxer can inflict in the ring. This is because the giraffe has very long and powerful legs that can be used for defense or attack. In addition, during the mating period, males can use their smell to attract a partner. They moisten their legs and neck to activate the smell on them. This method additionally attracts females. Thus, giraffes' mating games are an important part of their lives and serve to choose the right partner. They use different ways, such as demonstrating their strength and using their long neck and smell to attract the attention of others and win the heart of the partner. The giraffe is undoubtedly a large and strong animal. For example, the length of its leg can be 1.8 to 2.1 meters long, and the length of the giraffe's neck can be over 2 meters. This cute tail, which seems short to us because of the proportions of the animal, is actually far from small. Its length is about 80 to 100 centimeters. The tail consists of several parts. It begins at the base of the spine where the tail vertebrae are located. The vertebrae grow together and form a conical shape that turns into a long, flexible tail covered with short hair that helps protect the skin from insects. The tail can also be used to scare off annoying flies, that is, act as a fly swatter. In addition, the tail helps to communicate with relatives. For example, during mating, the male uses his tail to demonstrate his strength and ability to fight. Also, the youngsters can use their tails for entertainment, playfully pulling it with their teeth. The weight of giraffes in the wild can range from 800 to 1,400 kilograms, depending on the sex and age of the individual. Giraffes that are kept in captivity are usually of lower weight because of their restricted diet and the lack of constant struggle for survival, which is typical for wild animals. Giraffes in most cases use their power for self-defense and protection of their young. With these long and strong legs, they fight off predators or other animals that may try to attack them. However, despite their strength and power, giraffes generally prefer to avoid fighting and conflict. They're peaceful animals and, in most cases, try to escape from danger instead of attacking other animals. Although giraffes are the tallest animals on the planet, they can still become prey for some predators. In nature, there are several predators that can attack a giraffe, especially young and weak individuals. One of the most dangerous predators for giraffes are lions. They can attack even adult giraffes, using their strength and speed to inflict a deadly blow. Lions are considered to be one of the fastest predators on Earth. They can run at a speed of up to 80 kilometers per hour for short distances, but they cannot maintain such a speed for a long period. Most often, lions use ambush hunting tactics, where they try to get close to their prey before launching the attack. It's not easy for a giraffe to escape from such a formidable and fast predator. The maximum running speed of the giraffe is 60 kilometers per hour, so in the struggle for life, they have to use various tricks, whether it's maneuvering or powerful hoof strikes. Cheetahs can also attack young giraffes that are still immature and don't have the strength that adults have. In addition, giraffes can also be attacked by other predators such as crocodiles and hyenas. However, in general, giraffes have powerful front legs they can use to fight off attackers, and also use their height to view the environment and quickly escape in case of danger. The head of a giraffe is like a command post rotating at a high watchtower, analyzing the situation on all sides. The eyes scan the area, detecting the slightest signs of danger. Their eyes are located on the sides of their head, which gives them a panoramic view of the surrounding area. Having a wide visual field, a giraffe can see even the slightest movement at a great distance. The giraffe's eye has an excellent color sensitivity, which allows it to see in halftone and bright colors. In addition to sight, the giraffe has a fine sense of smell. It can detect odors at a distance of up to several kilometers thanks to this incredibly olfactory system. Giraffes have relatively large olfactory tubes, which provides them with a high sensitivity to odors. Giraffes also use their sense of smell to communicate with their relatives, for example, to determine whether another giraffe is male or female and if it's ready to produce. Giraffes' hearing is also well developed. They can hear sounds up to 1.6 kilometers away, which allows them to react to danger in advance. In addition, they have special ears that can rotate 360 degrees, which allows them to determine the direction of the sound source quite easily. So, giraffes have excellent eyesight, hearing, and smell, which helps them to detect danger in advance as well as find food. These features help them survive in their environment. But against the most cruel predator, man, a giraffe is helpless. Poachers prey on giraffes to profit from the sale of meat and other body parts, such as skin, bones, and tails. Hunters also kill giraffe for sport, or in order to get body parts such as heads or horns for trophies. Giraffe hunting is against the law in most countries, but the illegal trade in giraffes and their body parts is still flourishing. Demand creates supply. Poachers can also use traps to catch live giraffes for sale to zoos or private collections. Hunting giraffes is a serious threat to the survival of this species, which is already threatened with extinction due to the loss of habitats and other factors. The skin of a giraffe is in high demand in some places. Giraffes have short, dense, and thick hair, which has a light brown or yellow-brown color. On the neck, back, and sides of the giraffe there are large, dark spots, which are unique on each animal and help to distinguish them from each other. In the area between the spots, the hair is lighter, almost white. The giraffe's coat protects it from the cold and sunlight. It also serves as an excellent camouflage in savanna, where these animals live. Skins with such an attractive pattern are sold to rich connoisseurs of exoticism for using as decor in interiors, as well as in the consumer goods industry and fashion industry. Giraffe skins are used for the production of belts, shoes, bags, as well as for decorative purposes. In some cultures, giraffe skins are considered a status symbol, which leads to their high demand on the black market. Products made from natural skins are very expensive, and there will always be an unethical rich buyer who is willing to brag about a costly purchase. Poaching of giraffe for their skins is one of the main threats to the survival of this species. This is an illegal practice, and many countries are taking measures to deal with this phenomenon. For example, in the United States, the trade in giraffe skins is prohibited, and in China, restrictions on the import of skins are imposed. However, smuggling continues, and it remains one of the major threats to giraffes in the wild. Due to the complexity of tracking, corruption, and other factors, there are no accurate statistics on the number of giraffes killed by poachers, because hunting them is often carried out illegally and in secret. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the number of giraffes in Africa decreased by as much as 40% between 1999 and 2016. This decrease is associated primarily with poaching, destruction of the giraffe habitat, climate change, and other factors. There are several organizations concerned with the protection of giraffes and their habitat. Here are some of them. The African Wildlife Foundation is a non-profit organization that works in 12 African countries. The Tarangire Elephant Project protects wildlife in Tanzania, including giraffes. The Wildlife Conservation Fund works around the world to conserve wildlife and their habitat. It also deals with the conservation of African giraffes. The International Union for Conservation of Nature is a global organization dedicated to accessing the conservation status of species and developing strategies for their protection. In 2016, the IUCN identified the giraffe as a vulnerable species, which led to more active protection of the latter. The World Wildlife Fund is an international nonprofit organization dedicated to the conservation of nature and wildlife around the world. It works to protect giraffes and their habitat, including working with local governments and communities. Giraffes and local farmers in Africa are often in conflict over grassland. Giraffes can destroy farmers' crops and fences, causing them considerable damage. As a result of this, farmers may try to scare off giraffes or even kill them to protect their land. However, the aforementioned organizations are trying to reconcile the interests of local residents and giraffes. They work with farmers to help them protect their crops and fences using safer methods such as electric fences. They also conduct training to enable farmers to learn to coexist with animals more peacefully. Work is also underway with local government bodies to create reserves and protected areas for giraffes. This helps to ensure the safety of animals and reduce conflicts between humans and giraffes. The chipping of giraffes is one of the methods of marking and identifying the animals. A microchip is a small microelectronic device about the size of a grain of sand containing a unique number. The chip is inserted under the skin of an animal, allowing scientists to determine its identity and origin, as well as track its movement. The chipping of giraffes is carried out for the purpose of scientific and research work, as well as to monitor the population and the migration of these animals. Thanks to chipping, scientists can track the routes of giraffes, study their behavior and biology, as well as monitor their level of abundance. Chipping is a safer and less invasive method for animals than, for example, wearing external tracking or identification devices. It gives scientists the opportunity to collect data about giraffes while limiting the harm to the health of the animals. Threats to the species can also include parasites and diseases. Like many other animals, giraffes can become hosts for various parasites. One of the most common parasites in giraffes are ticks, which can lead to various diseases such as Lyme disease and Crimean Congo fever. Apart from this, giraffes suffer from lice and mosquitoes, which can spread various infections. Giraffes can also have worms and other parasites that threaten their health. In nature, everything is arranged harmoniously and permeated with the high intelligence of the Creator. If some creatures annoy the giraffe, then others can help while still benefiting themselves. Various birds can live on the body of a giraffe and feed on the insects that bother these long-necked animals. These birds not only feed on the body of the animal, but also rest on them. For example, it can be birds from the family of oxpeckers, which inhabit the savanna and forested areas of Africa. They enjoy a warm spot on the giraffe and use its body to rest and find food. In addition, on the body of the giraffe can be found such birds as cattle egrets that feed on insects and are undisturbed by the movement of the giraffe through the grass. Giraffes, like other animals, can suffer from various diseases. One of the most common is the disease of floating kidney, which can cause impaired kidney function and damage to other organs. Also, giraffes can suffer from infectious diseases such as pneumonia, tuberculosis, botulism, and others. In addition, giraffes can be prone to injuries, especially due to collisions with cars or other vehicles. Such cases are quite rare, but when they occur, they can lead to serious damage to both the car and the animal. Giraffes can cross roads in search of food and water, especially during periods of drought when natural sources of food and water become scarce. At night, the giraffe can be blinded by the headlights of cars, which can lead to an accident. Crashes with giraffes can be dangerous for people inside the car. The animal is very large and can cause serious damage to the roof, glass, and other parts of the car. In addition, giraffes can lose balance, slip on the pavement, and fall on the roadway, which can lead to a dangerous situation. In some areas, to prevent collision with giraffes, special signs have been erected warning drivers about the possible appearance of animals on the road. It's very important to adhere to the speed limit and carefully drive along these roads that pass through the giraffe's habitat. As we can see, a wild animal can always pose a threat to humans, although usually not as serious as the threats that humans pose to the animal. Giraffes are generally non-aggressive towards humans and rarely attack them. However, like other animals, giraffes can become dangerous if they feel threatened or they sense an encroachment on their territory. In the past, there have been cases of giraffe attacks on humans, including fatalities. For example, in 2016 in Zimbabwe, A giraffe killed its owner when he tried to film the animal. In 2015, a giraffe attacked a group of tourists in South Africa, injuring 3 of them. There have also been cases of attacks on employees of zoos and other institutions where giraffes are kept. But all these cases are the result of human interference in natural order, because zoos, with tourists in close proximity to wild animals, is nothing but a violation of the moral and ethical rights of every living creature on our planet, which has the same right to life as a person. To avoid conflicts with giraffes and other wild animals, it's necessary to follow the rules of behavior in their natural habitat and not disturb them by approaching too close. Giraffes, as a rule, do not have rabies, since rabies is an infectious disease caused by the rabies virus. This disease most often affects mammals such as dogs, foxes, but not giraffes. Although humans are often a danger to the giraffe, there are cases of a person rescuing a giraffe. One such event happened in Namibia in 2018. A young giraffe was entangled in the wire of a fence at a farm and could not free itself. When the farm worker noticed the lost giraffe, they tried to help it, but were unsuccessful. Then they contacted the Organization for the Protection of Animals and asked for help. Soon, rescuers arrived at the scene and began to release the animal, but that was not easy because the giraffe was very frightened and continued to resist, resulting in painful wounds from the wire. However, with the help of special equipment and experience in handling animals, the people were able to free the giraffe from the wire. The animal was wounded and exhausted, but thanks to timely rescue, it was able to recover and return to its natural habitat. This case demonstrates the importance of animal welfare organizations and that everyone can do something to save animals in distress. It's important to look for solutions to such problems and create safer barriers. Giraffes are herbivores that prefer leaves, flowers, and tree shoots. They enjoy different types of acacias that grow in the expanses of Africa. Giraffes can reach a height of 6 meters, so they need tall trees to feed. One of the features of giraffes is their long tongue, which can reach 45 centimeters in length. Thanks to this, they can tear the leaves off branches with quick, dexterous movements. In addition, their tongue is very flexible and can move in different directions, which helps them avoid thorns on trees such as acacias. Giraffes also love to eat flowers and fruits, but those are not a major part of their diet. They spend most of their time eating the leaves of trees and drinking water from rivers and water holes. Although the giraffe has the longest neck of all animals, it's not long enough to reach the water when the giraffe is standing. At the watering hole, they bend their long neck down and use their long tongue to reach the water. At the same time, they have to spread their front hooves wide apart in an awkward way. Giraffes can drink large amounts of water at one time, up to 15 gallons per one drinking session. But they can survive a fairly long time without water, since they also get water from the vegetation they eat. Giraffes eat a variety of plants that can be poisonous to other animals. Here are just a few. Acacia. This is the one main source of food for giraffes. Some types of acacia contain toxic substances such as tannins, which can be dangerous to other animals. Red balm. This is a plant growing in Africa that contains toxic substances that can cause severe abdominal pain and even death of other animals. However, giraffes can safely consume this plant due to their high level of protection against toxins. Mangrove trees. This is a plant that grows on the seashore and contains toxic substances such as manganese salts. Giraffe saliva has several features that allow giraffes to absorb nutrients from the plant foods they eat. Some of the features are a large amount of mucus that helps the giraffe to swallow larger pieces of plant food more easily, high level of proteins that help giraffes absorb nutrients from plant foods, a great number of bacteria that help them to digest plant foods, adaptation to hard food. Giraffes have special adaptations in their mouths that allow them to chew hard plant foods such as branches and leaves more easily. In general, giraffe saliva plays an important part in the digestive process of the animal, helping it to absorb nutrients from hard plant foods. A giraffe's digestion has several features that allows them to absorb nutrients from plant foods that are difficult to digest. Some of the features are long esophagus. Food moves along the esophagus due to muscle contractions. 4 stomachs. Giraffes have 4 stomachs that help them digest tough plant foods. The first stomach is the pre-stomach, where food begins to cleave. The food is then moved to the other 3 stomachs, where further digestion takes place. Like cows, giraffes chew the cud. They're able to bring food up from their stomachs into their mouth to chew it further before swallowing it again. A large number of microorganisms. In the stomachs of giraffes, there are a lot of microorganisms that help them to digest plant foods. These microorganisms produce enzymes that cleave plant fiber and help release nutrients from the plants. Lack of front teeth. Giraffes do not have front teeth in their upper jaw, which helps them avoid damaging their mouths while feeding on rough plants. Due to these digestive features, giraffes can survive on food that is not available to many other animals. Giraffes' feces also deserve special attention. They can reach 30 centimeters long and weigh about 9 kilograms. The feces are in the shape of round or oval lumps and usually dumped on the ground. These lumps are an important source of food and water for various animals, such as elephants and antelope, which feed on giraffe feces, especially during periods of drought when food and water sources become scarce. In addition, giraffes' feces contain many bacteria and microorganisms that can be beneficial to the health of other animals. Giraffes tend to live in herds and maintain friendly relations with other animals in their territory. Some of these species coexist with giraffe because they share the same ecosystem and feed on similar plants. Among the animals friendly to giraffes, we can note the following. Antelope. Giraffes often coexist with antelope on the African plains, where they share the same pastures. Zebras. Giraffes and zebras also live together in open spaces, especially in savannas. The elephant. Giraffes and elephants often live in close proximity and share water springs and feeding grounds. Buffalo. In some regions, giraffes can graze on the same land as buffalo. Gazelles. Many species of gazelles are in close proximity to giraffes and share pastures with them. However, it is worth noting that the friendship of animals in nature depends on certain conditions and the individual behavior of each animal. Giraffes are mammals that are known for their long neck and large size. They have a brain that is quite large in size compared to other species, but their intellectual abilities have not yet been extensively studied. It's known that giraffes have a good memory. They can remember the places where they find food and return there again and again. They also learn new patterns of behavior, which proves their ability to learn and adapt. Giraffes also have a rather complex social structure, and they have various forms of communication, including sound signals and body gestures. Their behavior may also indicate intellectual abilities, such as problem-solving skills, like when they use their long necks to reach food at a high altitude. Despite the fact their intellectual abilities are still poorly understood, giraffes probably have a certain level of intelligence that helps them to survive and adapt to their environment. The brain of a giraffe weighs approximately 500 to 600 grams, which is about 0.1% of the total body weight of a giraffe. Giraffes have one of the largest brains among animals, but compared to their size, the brain is relatively small. However, the size of the brain is not always related to the intellectual abilities of the animal, because the effectiveness of brain activity can depend not only on the size of the brain, but also on its structure, complexity, and ability to process information. Interestingly, the heart of a giraffe is the largest heart among all land animals, even bigger than the heart of an elephant. According to studies, the heart of an adult giraffe can weigh from 11 to 12 kilograms, and its length about 60 centimeters. Such dimensions of the giraffe's heart are necessary in order to ensure effective blood circulation in those long limbs and at the high altitude to which the giraffe rises. In addition, such a large volume of blood helps to maintain a constant blood pressure and ensure the survival of the giraffe in African deserts, where there is a small amount of water and the animal can live for some time without it, regulating the volume of blood in the body. Comparing the intelligence of giraffes and elephants can be challenging because they belong to different species and have unique characteristics and abilities. Elephants are known for their high intellectual abilities. They have excellent memories, the ability to solve problems, as well as the ability to use tools. They also have a complex social structure and can communicate with each other through a wide range of sounds and gestures. Giraffes, on the other hand, are less studied in terms of their intellectual abilities, but they also have a good memory and can learn new behavioral patterns. They also have a complex social structure and are able to communicate with each other using sounds and gestures. Thus, we can say that elephants and giraffes both have a certain level of intelligence that helps them adapt to their habitat and survive in it. However, it will be difficult to say exactly which of them is smarter without additional research. Like all highly developed animals, giraffes communicate with each other through a wide range of sounds and gestures. Giraffes have vocal cords, but they are very long, so they can't make sounds as loud as other animals. The main means of communication for giraffes are gestures and sound signals such as grunting, snorting, and humming. Giraffes can make sounds using an airbag and nostrils located on the tip of the larynx. During the production of sounds, air passes through the bag and exits through the nostrils. This can be compared to the way musicians play wind instruments, such as a saxophone or trumpet. They can also make sounds with their lips and tongue. Most often, giraffes produce sounds when they communicate with each other or when they show aggression. For example, male giraffes can make loud noises to attract the attention of females during mating. They make sounds that can be heard at a distance of up to 1.5 kilometers. These sounds can have different intonation and tone, and they can be heard both at a long distance and at close range. Giraffes also communicate with each other through gestures such as shaking their heads, nodding, wagging their tails, dancing, and during battle. They use these gestures to convey information about their emotions, intentions, and status in the herd. In addition, giraffes have odor glands in the neck and head, which can be used to communicate and transmit information to each other. Body movements and postures are also important. For example, they change their height by lowering or raising their head to show off their threatening position or friendly mood. Generally, giraffes have a variety of ways to communicate with each other, which allows them to transmit information and maintain communication in the herd. The horns on the head of a giraffe is one of its characteristic features. In fact, these are not horns, but keratinized wood bundles called ossicons. Giraffes have two processes located on the top of the skull, and they can be up to 15 centimeters long. Ossicons in giraffes serve not only as decoration, but also as a protective function. They help giraffes protect their heads during fights with other giraffes when they're battling for a female or territory, and can be used for self-defense against predators. The life expectancy of giraffes ranges from 20 to 25 years in the wild, but in captivity they can live longer. There are reports of giraffes that have lived up to 40 years in captivity. In the wild, the survival of giraffes depends on many factors, including the availability of food and water, the presence of predators, diseases, and injuries. However, giraffes have a high adaptive capacity and can survive in the dry and hot climates of Africa, where many other animals cannot survive. Basically, giraffes are considered long livers, and their long life is one of the factors that makes them such amazing creatures. The unique structure of the body of a giraffe results in a unique method of locomotion. Giraffe walking is different than most other animals because their front and hind legs do not move at the same time. Instead, the giraffes move two legs on one side of the body and then two legs on the other, creating the so-called running with overstepping. This unique way of movement is caused by their long legs and neck, which makes movement in the standard mode difficult and uncomfortable. At the usual pace, the walking speed of a giraffe is about 10 kilometers per hour. A running giraffe is characterized by long and powerful steps, and in doing so they use the front and hind legs at the same time. When running, giraffes can maintain a high speed over long distances, which helps them escape from predators and cross large areas in search of food and water. Giraffes cannot jump, in the usual meaning for us, because their anatomy does not allow them to come off the ground. Nevertheless, they can make small jumps on the spot, for example, during mating games. As for swimming, giraffes are deprived of this ability. Their long legs and neck do not allow them to move effectively in the water, but they can cross small rivers and ponds where the water isn't too deep by walking along the bottom. Giraffes, thanks to their unique appearance and behavior, often appear in folk legends, myths, and artworks. In the cultures of different nations, they're associated with different symbols and concepts. In African culture, giraffes are often associated with wisdom and generosity, as well as with greatness and freedom. In some regions, giraffes are seen as a symbol of longevity and well-being. In Western culture, giraffes are often associated with exoticism and adventure. They appear in books and films such as Ernest Hemingway's novel The Green Hills of Africa, and in the animated film Jungle. In music, giraffes do not remain ignored. For example, the band Toto released their song Africa, which mentions mad giraffes. In art, giraffes have been depicted in a variety of contexts and styles. They appear in paintings, sculptures, and graphic works as a symbol of the animal world and nature. Also, in some cultures, giraffes are used to create various objects such as jewelry and talismans, which may be associated with certain spiritual beliefs. In short, giraffes are unique and interesting animals that inspire people's creativity and imagination. In addition to everything we've covered so far, we can now add the top 10 most interesting facts about these unique creatures. African giraffes are the tallest animals on the planet. Their height can be more than 5 meters. Giraffes have very long vocal cords, so they cannot make loud sounds like other animals. Giraffes can survive without water for up to 2 weeks, getting moisture from plants. Giraffes have a very long tongue, up to 45 centimeters long, which helps them reach the leaves on the top of trees. Giraffes have the largest heart of any land animal. This is due to the fact that they need to pump blood over a lot of territory. Giraffes have very long legs and can run at speeds of up to 56 kilometers per hour. Giraffes sleep very little. On average, their sleep lasts less than 2 hours a day. Giraffes have individual spots on the skin, and each animal has its own unique pattern. Giraffes are social animals and communicate with each other using sound signals and gestures. And African giraffes are endangered due to the loss of their natural habitats and poaching. They are listed in the Red Book in the vulnerable category.